You're listening tonight to House Jupiter, and this is going to be the third video out of my moon sign series, and we're going to be talking all about the Gemini moon. Now, as I'm sure many of you know, the moon sign is one of the big three things to understand about yourself to work out your basic personality traits. And the moon is actually our emotions and our feelings. It also dictates how we react to somebody, and our moon sign will also let us know what we need in this lifetime to feel emotionally fulfilled. So let's have a look at how a Gemini moon feels emotionally and reacts to things. This is an air moon that we're talking about, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is one of the fastest, is the fastest moving planet out of all of the planets in our solar system. So that means that naturally Gemini moons, at the speed at which they think and process information is very, very, very quickly. It also means that Gemini moons need quite a lot of variety in their life and have to be doing different things, because being Mercury ruled, it makes them instantly be able to jump from one thing to another. All air signs are very, very intelligent, so that naturally means that Gemini moons like to know information and like to know a wide range of information, because this is one of the biggest traits with air signs is that they love to think and communicate. So this is also a sign that likes to communicate well, and one of the ways that they love to connect with people is through information. So it's very important for Gemini moons to always just know a little about a lot, and that way they can connect and conversate with people from all walks of life. As I just said, this is a moon sign that loves to communicate. A Gemini moon needs to communicate, and to be honest, can really, really talk a lot. Like if you're somewhere and you're in a situation and there's someone that's talking, it's probably going to be that Gemini archetype energy, sun, moon and rising going on there, because they have this inner need to express. If they can't be around people that they can talk with and connect with and share new information all the time, then it is just not suitable for a Gemini moon, because this is what they need. And because we're talking about the moon signs, we're talking about needs. So what a Gemini moon needs is to be able to feel that they can freely communicate and talk. If they haven't got that around them and they haven't got someone to bounce off or call up and have a good old attitude, then it's going to emotionally make them feel quite unhappy. Like this is a sign that needs to talk. Your moon sign will also give you a really good indication of what type of mother you had, what sort of upbringing you had from your mum. So people with Gemini moon placements means that your mum was probably very much quite a character, really. With it being that mutable energy, you might have found your mum to be a little bit on the scatty side, maybe, not a consistent emotional person actually, but someone who really pushed intelligence onto you, stressed the importance of education, getting a good job, stressing being able to talk and communicate well. A Gemini moon's mom also would have had such a really fun and light-hearted side, because that is what's there with the Gemini energy. There's a childlike nature to them, very different. The fire signs are childish. The Gemini is childlike. A Gemini moon's mum might have been very mood swingy, as in one day they're absolutely fine, happy, everything's okay. Next day, angry, don't talk to me, that type of energy. And a Gemini moon's mum, in terms of emotions, wouldn't have really been that type of mum that showed a really emotional and vulnerable side to their child. They would have been more like, oh, what's all that emotion? Like, keep that there. Like, Gemini moons are really open-minded people. This has got to be one of the most open-minded moon signs around, and really good public speaking and effective communicators. These will be the type of people that will be amazing at giving presentations and in generally being quite social and knowing how to conduct themselves in a social setting. This isn't someone who struggles to make friends by any means, because they can talk to anyone about anything, anywhere. This is a moon sign that for sure enjoys debating and are really, really good debaters. Just going to point it out here, many politicians are Geminis, but this is a sign that would rather be around people who can mentally stimulate them. This is definitely a moon sign that needs mental stimulation and interesting conversations, because you soak up information at like quite an alarming speed, really. So if you're having a chat with someone and they can teach you something, You are all about that. You could stand and talk to that person for hours. With Mercury ruling here over Gemini, it gives Gemini Moon people the ability to have a real natural charm when it comes to speaking and conversating with people. These are the signs, the moon signs, that know kind of just what to say at the right time. You're also the sign that knows how to tell a little white lie to make something sound a little bit more interesting, or just bend the truth slightly, and you can do it really, really quick. Also have very, very strong persuasive powers. You can talk your way in and out of a situation. Very witty and generally very, very sharp. And as I said, this is the sign that loves to chat. They're going to need to come home after their day at work and have a partner that can sit there and say, oh, this is what I've done today, and just, natter away. Mercury is also the planet of intelligence. It represents the mind, how we speak, think, communicate, read, write. All of that sits in your Mercury sign. So that's just an interesting thing to know about your birth chart. Where's your Mercury? Let me know. However, I'm saying that because with Mercury ruling over Gemini, and with that intelligence, means that Gemini moons are naturally more intellectually inclined. And we are speaking about the moon here. As I said at the beginning, the moon is your emotions and feelings and how you react to things. So when it comes to a Gemini moon's emotions and feelings, they 100% intellectualize their feelings. This is not a sign, because it's an air sign, this is not a sign that feels emotion deeply and actually connects with that emotion and how it feels. They would much rather intellectualize it, think about it, analyze why they're feeling that way, and of course talk about how they're feeling. So when a Gemini moon is feeling emotional, it's more of a mental process and a thought process than some sort of instant emotional outburst and reaction to things. It's going to be a thinking process. Whoa, where did that come from? Thinking process that happens. So this makes them be very emotionally strong people, because they are able to think it through and show that composure instead of just, as I said, an instant reaction to things. Like Gemini moon are not one of those people that's just going to fly off the handle. This is the funny thing about the different elements that you've got mixed with the moon signs, because the fire moons will just flare up and react pretty quickly over anything. You've got the earth moons who will take a little while to get a reaction out of them. So with the Gemini moon, again, it's the same. It's not someone who's going to instantly flare up and get all crying or angry or just argue straight away. They'll logically think about it first. I really think that if you wanted to change a Gemini moon's perspective on something, or change how they're feeling, then you would have to directly change their thought process first. If you don't change their thought process, then they won't change how they're thinking about how they're feeling, because this is how the Gemini moon manifests. And as I said, very logical people, and definitely prefer the light-hearted side of life, especially with deep, heavy emotions. They would rather keep things light. Gemini moons need open communication at all times to be able to release how they're feeling and release what's in their mind, especially when your moon sign. It's only people who know you properly who get to see your moon sign, because it's the inner part of us. It's the more hidden side. It's not what people first see when they meet you. That's your rising sign. People first see your moon sign. Is only people who know you really well get to see this side of you. So Gemini moon traits play out a lot closely when in a relationship. This is where you're going to see it when there's that close bond. So they need the freedom to talk with their partner, and their partner needs to be able to handle that level of conversation and bring some interesting talk back. Gemini moons probably find it quite difficult sometimes to make firm decisions quickly, because this is an indecisive energy. That duality there, it's represented by the twins too, jewel. It's also a mutable sign, so it's changeable, adaptable and fluid. So Gemini moons can be indecisive and sometimes go back and forth on, should I do this, should I do that, should I do this? And that also plays out with their emotions. I would say can be very up and down with their emotions sometimes. 1 minute they are okay, next minute they're not. It's quick and it's fast, but because of that mutable the mutable modality playing out here, that also means that Gemini moons have lots of different hobbies and interests and will always throughout life do different things. This is a sign that needs some spice and variety. They would get so bored if they were only doing the same thing. They would be so bored if they weren't, learning enough information. This is the type of sign, it's like, oh, I'm tired now, it's time to go to bed. And then you'll jump into bed and then you'll be like, oh, let me just quickly check. And you'll start reading something. And the next thing you know, you've got like 3-4 different tabs open, quickly looking at things when you're meant to be going to sleep. This is also not a sign that's going to hold a grudge and not let go of things. They will be able to move on from things quite quickly. Some moon signs, like, wow, the stubbornness there, once the mind's made up, that's it. You're not changing it for anything on this world. But that's not what we're talking about here. The Gemini moon, they won't dwell on things for ages. They can move on quite quickly from a situation. Gemini moons might suffer from mental exhaustion from time to time because, as I said, they're thinking so fast, they're working so fast, they're doing everything at high speed and always wanting to do different things. And this can manifest physically, really, in the body in a way, in the form of headaches, migraines, and also a level of anxiety. There's a level of anxiety that's related with that Mercury energy because it's so fast and it rules over the nervous system. So, that Gemini moons might suffer potentially from a little bit of anxiety and just general mental exhaustion and fatigue because of how much you're doing. So watch out for just not overloaded and overworking yourself. Like every single one of us needs that time to just chill and do nothing much and take it easy. You're amazing at multitasking, but just sometimes you just can't do it all at once. This is also a moon sign that really needs and loves their freedom and independence. It's the opposite sign to Sagittarius. That's one of the main things with Sagittarius is freedom and independence, and that trait carries through to Gemini moons and Gemini risings, Gemini sun signs. So if you were in a relationship with somebody, when you're in a relationship with someone, you have to be with somebody who gives you that freedom. If you had a partner that was super needy and super emotional, crying, and it's just not something you could really deal with that well. It's not what you need emotionally. That's not what a Gemini moon requires. They also wouldn't want someone who's controlling, manipulating, pinning them down, just basically not letting them have that freedom. It would actually make them really, really, really unhappy. This is one of the most complex thinkers, one of the most complex thinking moon signs out there, able to see things from other people's perspectives really quickly. When you're conversating with someone, the speed and the wit that you can come back and instantly see what somebody's sort of saying. As I said, very logical people with high mental ability. So that's my interpretation of the Gemini moon. If there's anything that I said that you liked or could relate to, then please drop me a like on the video, ask me some questions, leave me a comment. Are you a Gemini moon watching? If you're not, what is your moon sign? I find this so interesting, as you can probably tell. And of course, subscribe and come with me on my astro journey through YouTube. And coming up in my next video, we're going to be talking all about the Cancer moon. And I'm really excited to talk about this one because it's the first time we're talking about an actual water moon. And water is the emotions and feelings. So I'll see you in my next video.